I'm here now with my review of the Amazing Spider-Man video game. As you've probably seen, that I've done a lot of Spider-Man videos lately over the past couple of weeks, and that's purely because of the movie coming out and all the hype around Spider-Man at the moment. So this is my last Spider-Man video. I just finished playing the game the other day. I completed it, and it's a very fun game. If you like the previous Spider-Man games, especially Spider-Man 2, as everyone sort of regards that as the greatest Spider-Man game, it's definitely worth getting, because Beanox have done a really good job with the Spider-Man game. They really make you feel like you are Spider-Man in it, which is the best thing you can do for a Spider-Man game. There's a few little down points with it that I'll talk about, but the good points completely outweigh the down points in my opinion, so let's just get straight on with it. It's a very fun game, first of all. Obviously, swinging around New York has always been one of the high points of Spider-Man games, and this is, in my opinion, the best that they've done that before. The one little niggle that people seem to be moaning about is the web shots don't actually attach to buildings, so it's kind of just like you're swinging from the clouds. It's only a slight problem though. It doesn't distract me at all. I still love the game. I still get fully involved. New York is the best it's ever looked. It's got all the it's like Times Square, Central Park, Empire State Building. It's all there, and it's all there for you to have a lot of fun around. And it's just very good swinging through the sky. Like, they've got the new camera system. You might have seen in my first impressions video that they've got the new camera where it kind of follows Spider-Man a lot closer and a lot with the action, like just behind him, and as opposed to the camera being far away. So it really helps you feel like you're actually flying through the sky, which is very good. Like I said in my first impressions, this is away from web swinging now. It's a very similar game to the Batman games, so Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, and it's obvious that Beanox have taken a lot out of that book, because the combat system is near on the same. You've got like the free-flowing combat where you just keep pressing like attack buttons, and then if you'll get like a kind of spider sense above your head, and if you press on PS3 it's triangle, you'll instantly kind of counter that enemy's attack. So it's really completely free-flowing, and it counts up your combo as you go. So it's very similar to the Batman games. Also, that they've also taken from the Batman games is the stealth side of the game, so you can hide in the shadows on the ceiling and kind of take enemies off one by one by kind of sneaking up behind them and attaching them in web and hanging them from the ceiling. So they really have taken a lot of the Batman games, and that's not a bad thing, like I said in my other video, because the Batman games are very successful, and Spider-Man needs that kind of game to set itself above the other Spider-Man games, and I think it does do this. Away from combat then, one gripe that I did have with the game is the length of the story. And now the game, you can spend loads of time on this game out of fun, collecting the collectibles, because there's 700 collectibles, so that keeps you going for a while. I've only got about 200 so far, so I'm still playing it now after I've completed it. But the story only took me, I'd say, about 6 hours to complete the story, and that's not very big. A bit more actually, maybe about 7 hours, 7.5 hours. I've put about 12 hours into it now, but that's including all the time that I spent doing side missions, the times I spent going around collecting the collectibles and things like that. But yeah, the story is very short. You could easily do it in a day, I think. So that's the only sort of gripe about it, that it's not a long story at all. It is a good story. It takes place after the events of the movie, so I don't really, even though I said in my first impressions that it doesn't spoil the game too much, it does. I got later on into it and I got hit with a couple of big spoilers, which is kind of annoying, so it's definitely worth playing it after you've seen the film. But it does well to give you a new Spider-Man story. It's just like any story from the comics. You've got new characters chucked in there, but you've also got the same ones from the movie. Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone and Rhys Ifans, they don't provide their voices, but the voice acting I thought was still still quite good on there. You've obviously got Spider-Man, who's quite cheeky and quite young as well, so it was a good voice actor that they chose to voice him. Another one thing I didn't enjoy about the game, sorry, was that I found out that the Wii version of the game isn't free roam. You can't swing around New York. It's just levels, like level based missions, and I found out that the exact same missions from the Wii version are in this game, and that all they've done for the next PS3 and Xbox versions is they've added the free roam around New York. And I thought that was a bit lazy on the developers, because we want this perfect Spider-Man kind of simulator. We want to feel like we are Spider-Man, and we want it to be proper great missions. And I don't really like the way they've kind of just copied and pasted a Wii version and put it into the kind of next gen versions of the game, when really they should be focusing on building a version of the game for Xbox and PS3 and kind of doing the best they can with the Wii, not focusing on the Wii and putting it on the PS3 and Xbox. Obviously they weren't completely lazy. They added the whole New York, which you can't do in the Wii game, but the missions are exactly the same, the cutscenes are exactly the same, and it's just kind of, they just chucked New York in there, maybe because they had to, otherwise fans wouldn't have really wanted the game. But that's the only down point really, along with the length of the story that I found with the game. I think they could have done really well with it, because that's the thing, you don't do any proper missions outside of like indoor building levels, like inside Oscorp, inside these like kind of factories and things like that. It would have been great if we could have had some more missions out on the streets of New York and on top of buildings and things like that, but as they didn't have that in the Wii version, obviously it's not going to be in this one. So yeah, that was one down point that I had about the game, but it doesn't take away, it's a brilliant game. It keeps you coming back. I'm still working away at it now, collecting all the collectibles. There's loads of different suits, costumes you can unlock as well. I'm currently playing in the black costume from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3, because they do have the Sam Raimi's costumes in the game, which is quite cool, and a lot of others. So yeah, it's good to kind of unlock those. And there's a few bits of DLC as well, like on the pre-order bonuses. You can play as Stan Lee, play as Rhino, or do the Oscorp mini games, which I've got. So yeah, it does keep you coming back. There's a lot to do there, but if you're just going for the single player experience, it's definitely worth a rental. I don't know if it might be worth you paying the full price if you were just wanting to play the single player. I'm happy to pay the full price because I love Spider-Man games and I like kind of swinging around the city and having fun, and I knew there were going to be a lot of collectibles and things like that in there, so I'm happy with the game, but it does have a few little flaws to it. But overall it's definitely a good game. I'll give it about a 7 out of 10. So if you like Spider-Man, go out and get it. If you liked the film, go out and get it. But if you're not really into the past Spider-Man games, it's worth a rental. So yeah, definitely check it out whatever happens. But that's about it for the review. Leave your comments about what you thought on the game and what you thought about my review. So cheers for watching this video.